Hi, it's Lionel Frey here again, ready to start the next video nest. By the way, we call them nests because they fit into each other, but each of them is a complete statement unto itself, and they build on each other, like this. In the last nest, number 4, we talked about some of the mechanics of building a value map. In this one, I'm going to show you how a value map generates a payoff, in this case a major insight for a business, an aha that might otherwise be missed entirely. And my vehicle for doing this will be the story of a company that rents vehicles, in this case recreational vehicles. Some years ago, a fellow by the name of Bob Smalley started a company in Florida that he called Cruise America. This was his logo. And this was the typical kind of vehicle that he put out to rent. He obviously had some grand ambitions, but the business was so-so on profitability, and he was able to grow it beyond his starting territory only very slowly. So let's construct a value map for this business and see where it takes us. First, we see a definition of the business, a stage where value is created, in this case, the RV rental agency. And it sells to a market, the RV rental market. It delivers value with a value flow to that market. And the values of that market are primarily to use an RV for a short time and to pay a reasonable price for it. Now, a reasonable price might be $100 a day or so. And the rental agency has to buy the RVs from the RV manufacturer, pays about $60,000 for each one. However, there is a negative value flow associated with this business because the vehicles depreciate as you use them. No surprise. In this case, about $15,000 a year per vehicle of reduced value. And typically after a couple of years, they get sold as a used vehicle. And they get sold to this market, different market, used vehicles, used RVs. And the people who buy them, their values are, we want to acquire a used RV, typically will be 2 years old and have about 50,000 miles on the odometer. And typically they'll pay about $30,000 per RV after the 2-year period. So roughly every 2 years there's a turnover in this business. So this is the basic value map of the business in the simplest form. But now if we dig a little deeper, let's go upstream. Let's look at what the RV manufacturer really does beyond that level. In this case, it might be Winnebago, for example. Well, they buy parts and appliance supplies so that they can build the living quarters. And then they also buy a truck body from a manufacturer like Ford, for example. Typically, they will pay about $20,000 per unit. This is what a truck body looks like. Let's dig a little deeper into another part of the value map. If we really look at the values and think about them a little more deeply, why are people renting an RV? Well, first of all, it's to drive to a camping location reliably and safely. And once they get there, they want to be able to camp comfortably and at low cost. You know, you buy a whole RV from the manufacturer, but you notice that when you sell it, the living quarters are usually in good shape. And they don't change much from year to year, or at least not as much as the truck body itself, as Ford adds new looks and bells and whistles whenever it can. So now comes the question that leads to the real aha. What if you can separate the two, the truck body and the living quarters, and sell the truck body alone, and then install the living quarters again on a new truck body? Well, then you could really be selling into another market, the used truck body market, and there is such a market. And the people who buy there, they want to acquire a used truck body with about 50,000 miles on it and use it for many applications. If you did that, you could probably get about 50% of the action, so I'd say $10,000 after a 2-year-old vehicle with 50,000 miles on it. Now, if you could buy the truck body directly from the truck body manufacturer, Ford in this case, which you can, you'd be paying the same $20,000 a unit that Winnebago pays, the same $20,000 per unit that the RV manufacturer pays. And if you did that, you would be dramatically reducing the negative value flow that you've been suffering with for all these years. It'll go from $15,000 a year to roughly $5,000 a year. So notice how we came to this conclusion. We looked and thought more deeply in a different part of the value map, in this case upstream. And we also drilled down into the values that our customers have and thought a little more deeply about them, in this case, that they are really trying to do two basic things which correspond to two basic parts of the vehicle that we're renting to them. So, what did the aha do for Smalley? Which got us additional years of useful life from the living quarters. We could do that maybe once or maybe twice. So we bypassed a value generator, which was the RV manufacturer, and captured some of that value for ourselves in effect. And the net result is that we eliminated the need for about 2/3 of new vehicle purchases where we're buying the whole RV. What were the results? Well, our depreciation costs were cut by more than 50%. Profitability of the company doubled. This enabled the growth of the company to really take off, and Cruise America got to be national and became the largest player in the industry. So Smalley was a happy man. So this is an example of what a value map can do for you. Of course, you won't get an aha like this one every time you build one for your business, but you might, or you might at least get some valuable insights, mini ahas. And at the very least, you'll be looking at your business with a fresh set of eyes, a new kind of lens, so to speak. You'll know what you will see once you do it. And who knows what can come out of that experience. So in the next nest, number 6, we are going to focus on the value mapping process, how you go about putting a value map together that has the best chance of giving you some real value.